Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Rise podcast with me, your host, Katie Oman, women's empowerment coach, author, book coach, and all round fabulous human being. I have created this podcast series because I really believe in the power of women's stories. And I wanted to have a space where we can talk to women about their stories and their experiences and how they got there and all that beautiful stuff so that we can all get a big dose of inspiration and empowerment along the way. So I hope that you enjoy this episode. I hope that, again, it lights you up. And I have another amazing woman to talk to you today. I want to introduce you to Samantha Hyam. I am over the moon that she agreed to do this with me today. So, Samantha, thank you so much for being here, my darling. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me on today, Katie.
You're very welcome. It's lovely to connect with you and to have this chat. So, as ever, as I say to all my guests on this, I'm not going to introduce you because the best person to introduce yourself is you. So who are you, what do you do, and tell us all about you.
Okay, so my name is Samantha Hyam. I am a course creation or curation consultant. I own samanthahyam.com, where I essentially help service-based female entrepreneurs create their first course, program, workshop, so they can bring in additional money into their business and essentially have more money, more time, more freedom, more energy to do the things that they love and create a life that they love. I absolutely love the work that I do. I've been in business for over a decade, originally starting off in the holistic spiritual niche, and developing my skills and training along the way so that I can support women from a more skills-based standpoint. A lot of my work has been predominantly around mindset and emotional intelligence, and so the work I do right now, it's like a holistic combination of all of my skills. So I truly believe that we can inspire and empower women with confidence in the tools that they need to go out there and do the thing so they can create a world that feels good for them. Outside of work, I am the mum of two teenage girls that drive me crazy on a daily basis, to put that mildly. And I am the grandmother to two boy cats, Atlas and Jazzy. I cannot forget them because I treat them like humans. Along with being a wife and someone that enjoys, when I do have some spare time, going for hikes, musicals, anything to do with the arts, meeting new people, learning new things, experiencing new things. I'm all about growth in not just in our businesses, but as part of ourselves as human beings as well. And I just absolutely adore helping women in particular to develop from the inside out also, and just seeing women go from that space of not even understanding what they're capable of to seeing them do it and being like, wow, I didn't know I could do that. Let's do it again.
I love that. And I so hear you and resonate with you. Like, that's like my whole niche. And I get it, to see women's potential in them that they don't always see in themselves, right? And to help to kind of gently kind of pull it out of them and get them into a space where they really start living their authentic truth and their best life. And I think this is a really wonderful way for you to do that. So if you started in the spiritual niche and then you ended up now in this space of, like I say, courses and workshops, content, and helping women to do that, what was there a moment, was there a thing where you kind of switched from one to the other? Because I'm always interested in when people go in a like slightly different direction, and what was it that made them kind of make that move?
So a little bit of background on me. I'm a natural psychic. I'm also a Reiki master teacher as well. So it was always kind of who I was, and I was therefore attracting a lot of women that were also on a very similar pathway, wanting to develop and things like that. And so I was working with women in terms of helping them tune into their intuition, their gifts, and using it in business, in life, wherever.
Yeah.
And I reached a stage where I was really enjoying it, and it was enjoyable seeing women see their gifts and embracing who they really were. Like, a lot of women that I was working with were very much in the spiritual closet, right? And there's a lot of shame around it. And here I was like, well, hey, I've been doing this since I was a kid. It's normal to me. So let me help to lead you there. One of the things that I found that I guess not even just in that niche, but working with women on a whole, was there was an awful lot of emphasis on confidence building and mindset and all of those things, but there wasn't enough in terms of skill set.
Mm.
So we can encourage, we can inspire, but we're missing the piece about empowering them, as in giving them the tools to go out and do the thing. And I was finding a lot of women were reaching a certain point, but then their growth kind of stopped or stuck
Yeah.
around that mark. And I went away and I thought, why is that? You know, at the same time, like I said, I'm always a student first in life in general, right? So I was also training with a coach outside, and training in the art of training and education and things like that, and getting qualified in that. And I thought, I wonder if it is a case that women just don't know how.
Yeah.
They just don't have the skills, right? Like, and obviously I was predominantly mixing with the self-development niche and the holistic and spiritual niche, and there was a lot of the kind of working on the mind and all of that. But for me, there wasn't enough in terms of accountability, commitment, discipline, and action. And so I reached that stage where I'd qualified and passed, and I was working and helping other women privately.
Mm.
And I started to notice a difference with women. It was, okay, we can inspire, I can build your confidence up, we can work on the mindset, and I can teach you these skills so you can go out and you can be more financially independent, or
Mm.
you can bring in a bit more money, you can have more time to spend with your children, you know, these things. And when I saw that both pieces worked really, really well, I thought that was the missing piece. I'm actually really enjoying doing this and
Yeah.
watching what unfolds. So then, I mean, my life had changed dramatically around that point as well. And so it felt like a natural kind of turning point for me. Interestingly enough, we're talking about intuition. Like, my businesses I have to say, they did really well. I had repeat clients, I had women that have been in my audience for over a decade, right? And one day I was making some toast, as you do,
That's true.
and I'm just buttering my toast, and then this strong voice, message, feeling, whatever way you want to put it, came through and said, you need to close down these businesses. And it came through, and I just stopped, and I was like, what was that? You know, what was that? And I started to get a little bit scared, but I ignored it. 5 minutes later, it came again. You need to close down the memberships. You need to close down. It has to come to an end. And I stopped again, and I thought, okay, I felt in my gut that I need to listen to this. Like,
Yeah.
and then I got the sensation of an ending coming in. What was really scary is that I didn't get a sensation of a new beginning. So as far as I was aware, hey, I've got to shut down these businesses. Okay, fine, but then what? And I think that's the scary part, right? Like, if I do this, where do I end up? I did it. I closed things down within 2 days, right? I sent out everything to my audience. I explained what had happened and that it had come to its natural end. And to be fair, it had been coming to its natural end
Yeah.
for me. And then came the rebirth of my own personal life shifting as well. And just kind of this cumulative energy of new beginnings coming in. And so, like I said, over the last couple of years, it's like that's where I was training, I passed and everything. And it was just new stuff coming in. And like I said, that's how I found myself kind of on this pathway now, a pathway that I absolutely enjoy and I feel serves women on a much more all-rounded level,
Mhm.
you know. And it is wonderful to see women going out there with confidence and with the skill set and building businesses and really kind of living a life that's full of endless possibilities because they recognize their potential, you
Yeah.
know, take the action on it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there's so much there, isn't there, really, to I think about and talk about. Like, I can just imagine people watching this and being like their minds like moving just as they're listening to you. Because that's the thing, isn't it? I think that we want all of the steps before we make a move. Like, we're so like things to be known and controlled. And of
Yeah.
course, sometimes life doesn't work that way. You know, sometimes, I talk about like following the breadcrumbs, even if it makes no sense, because you're being led somewhere. But it's scary, and like, you can't always know where you're going and if it's going to work. But it's trusting, I think, in my experience, it's like, well, wherever I'm going, I know that I can't stay where I am. I think that's kind of a knowing, that feeling of like, well, I just have to move forward, even if it is scary.
Yeah. And I think for me, I've had a lot of not so great things happen in my life over the last 16 years where I had to take big leaps of faith and trust that it was going to be okay. And I did those things. So my brain has evidence that, look, you did that thing, you didn't die, you're still alive and kicking, you were fine, and look where you are now. It was a big part of the journey. I think when we have big decisions to make, it's very useful to be able to reflect back and go, okay, well, I did that before, and then I did that, and then I did that, and I'm here now, and of course it's going to be okay. I don't know how, but I trust, as you said, I trust that no matter what unfolds, I will be okay because I've got me.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing, isn't it? It's betting on yourself.
Yeah.
It's believing in yourself that no matter what does happen in that space, you've got you and you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
Because your brain, and like your brain, as I'm sure you know, can talk you in and out of anything if you give yourself enough time. So I always laugh and go, if you ask your brain, what's the worst that can happen? Your brain's like, I've got a PowerPoint presentation, darling, sit down. I've got like 20 slides to tell you. Right? But
Absolutely.
in my experience, and I'm sure you're the same, is that those worst case scenario thoughts don't typically come to fruition.
No.
It may not be like 100% success and like blow up and that thing either.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you it's going to go better than what you're telling yourself it will go.
Our brains are there to keep us alive and keep us safe, right? So anything new we choose to step onto, we will get some resistance in some way or form. Because we have to teach our brains that actually we can go through things and we're going to be okay. And it can be the norm, and actually there can be a better outcome than envisioned. But absolutely, our brain will give us all sorts of scenarios of what may happen. And 9 times out of 10, it doesn't.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Which is such an interesting lead, I think, because you see lots of different women in the work that you do, and I'm sure they're all in different spaces and different parts of their journey. What do you think is the biggest issue that stops people stepping into this space? What do you think is the thing that women will block themselves from their own, I don't know, happiness, success, and fulfillment, I suppose?
I think it's just fear of the unknown. It's easier, familiarity is comforting, right? Even if it's a bit meh or mediocre, it's what you know. So with what you know, you have an element of control over it.
Yeah.
Right? If we're stepping into something that's completely brand new, how do I know it will work? What if I fail? What if they laugh at me? What if I lose all my money? What if? Whereas if we're staying in a situation that actually could be really unhealthy for us, but it's what we know, then we have that feeling of, okay, I've got control, I've got this.
Yeah.
Well, actually, ideally, we need to have that deep level of trust in us that's there, that no matter what life throws at us, it's like, okay, this feels horrible, but I've got this. I know, I trust myself to make the right decisions on this. I think trauma plays a massive part depending on, what you've experienced in your life. And I can say that firsthand as somebody that's gone through 15 years of domestic violence, actual violence, and has never actually truly learned how to feel safe in my body or trust myself until my latter years, right? So, when you have so much evidence of so many things that can go wrong as well, that can also play a part. It's like saying in a really unhappy relationship, oh, he's all right, is what I know, it's okay. I see lots of women living that life. And it does take a certain level of courage to say, actually, I know I've been with this person for so many years, but I actually deserve better. I deserve to feel better and wake up happier. And that takes courage, because our shadows and our gremlins and our mind monkeys will come out to play all the time, and they'll never go away. But I think that is the biggest thing as to why women stay stuck,
Yeah.
or, you know, don't take that leap forward. It's just like they say, better the devil you know.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, and it's so true. You know, we go. It makes me laugh when you see people that go, "I'm going to war with the ego, and I'm gonna get rid of the ego," and I'm like, unless you have a lobotomy, that's not
Hmm.
happening because it's literally part of your brain.
Yeah, yeah, agreed.
It's just whether you buy into that, right? And you allow it to kind of, as I say, drive the car. Like, who's driving the car? Is your
Yeah,
fear driving the car, or is your self belief driving the car? And, you know,
yeah.
sometimes the fear may try and kind of elbow its way into that space, but it doesn't mean it has to drive, right?
No, no. And we're always going to have moments like them, even when you're at your most happiest in life, you're going to have these things that come up. I hear people say a lot like, oh, when I'm healed, like we ever get into that place where we're actually fully healed. Like if you're waiting for that day to happen, good luck, because I don't know anybody that is. There's always going to be something that comes up, but it's how you navigate it. As you
Yeah,
said, like, do we allow fear to step into the driving seat and navigate it? Because often when we do, the outcome's not that great. We make
yeah,
decisions that are not for our higher selves, right? So it's about acknowledging it. Yes, I feel fear, and that's absolutely normal. Now, what do I want?
yeah.
Now, what do I want? And let
Absolutely.
me take action from that space.
Absolutely, absolutely. I love that. So when you had this kind of intuitive guidance that came through and you had to let go and embrace the new, even though you didn't know what that looked like, did you
Mm.
have your own mind monkeys then come into that space? And how did you deal with that?
My monkeys are with me every single day, every day, out to play whenever they feel like it. You know, they're always there, and I try and make friends with them, but sometimes, you know, mine, you know, I think whenever there's anything new or big or different in your life, or that requires you to up level in some way, even if that's doing a different action, the mind monkeys come out. And the best advice I can give for that is to just expect them. Just expect them to come out. Just be like, okay, I see you, I hear you, but I'm not going to allow you to lead me. This is okay. I lead myself.
Yeah.
And again, a good place of leading yourself is going back to, okay, I recognize the fears, I see the fears, but what do I actually want?
Mm,
What do I want? When it came to me changing my business over and shutting everything down, actually what I wanted was to support women in a different way.
yeah.
And the way I was supporting women previously wasn't enough for me. It wasn't enough. I didn't feel like, I felt like I was doing women almost like a bit of a disservice. So I knew intuitively there's another way I can help, you know, and I'm not doing that right now.
Yeah.
So it's always kind of going back to what is it you want?
I love that. I think it's really good. It's always your intention, right? It's your why. It's not
Mhm.
the what and the how. It's like, why do you want it? Because you can't move forward, I think, in the right direction, or at least maintain that right direction if you don't really know why you're doing it,
Mhm.
right? 'Cause it's kind of shallow otherwise, and the slightest thing is going to knock you off course.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So for those women out there who perhaps, you know, have their own business or maybe thinking about starting their own business or whatever that looks like how do we even begin to engage with this kind of aspect of what that might look like in terms of workshops or course creation? Do you have anything that we could even start to shift our mindset into that space?
So the first thing that I would always say is like, what is your plan? Like, what is your intention? Like, who is it you want to help? How do you want to help them?
Mm,
Okay. Then I would really kind of say, okay, you've got your person that you want to help. Do you know the different stages that this client might be at? And when you know that, then I would say, okay, so what can we bring in to support your client at different stages of his or her journey?
mm,
I believe workshops, courses, programs, trainings, they can apply to any business
yeah.
that you want to do, right? But it's about being strategic with it. It's
Mm,
about saying, okay, at this point in my business, I'm ready to maybe take a step back from being one-to-one all the time. I've built up clientele. Now I want to bring courses in. Or it could be I'm new and I want to do a workshop
yeah.
to show people that what I can do or what my modality is or whatever, you know, and I want to invite people to this free workshop. I mean, there's a strategic, there's a, you know, a strategy behind workshops as well, and a curation to a good workshop also, you know. So it really depends on the individual, but I genuinely say, like, you can bring these things into any stage of your business.
Yeah.
You've just got to remember, what is the outcome I want for my client?
Yeah, I love that because it's so true. I think in this world of, social media and everybody wants your attention, everybody wants your money. I think people get into things because they think that other people are doing it and they think that's what they
Yeah.
should do, that's the way they should go. But they're not really stopping to think about their why and the plan and to be strategic. So it's like they're just throwing money at something and just hoping it sticks, right? But like you say, unless you have thought about these things and you really spend some time with it, it's not going to give you the outcome that you want. It's going to be shallow, it's going to be hollow. You and the people that are coming are not going to get out of it what either of you really want. And so I just think don't run at it, right? It's like spend some time with it.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, I had this conversation just the other day with a lady, and I was saying, look, your first year in business, like, just don't expect to be making the 5K months and the 10K months you're watching everybody else make. That your first year is going to be finding your way. And
Yeah.
that's going to require patience. It's going to require trial and error. It's going to require a lot of market research continuously. It's going to require you trying something, seeing if that works, tweaking it. If not, you
Yeah.
know, it's going to require audience, but it requires so much. And I think one of the biggest mistakes and I've done all of these mistakes, by the way, that I'm talking about, is looking at everybody else and following everyone else's strategy, when actually, this is why I said it's important for you to know, what is your business? What is your business model? How do you want your business to
Yeah.
look based on your lifestyle? All of these things are different for everybody. And just like you say, take your time with it, you know.
I totally agree. I think one of the things that helped me personally, like I say, I work as one of the things I do is working as a book coach, and I have a client who wrote about human design, which some things that I wasn't really familiar with before that point. But of course, you get curious about yourself through the process. And when I realized that I was a generator, and like I was like, oh God, that makes so much sense, because for me personally, and I'm sure other people will resonate with this, I have to get myself in a space of being lit up and passionate and happy first. It has to be about me, and that's not selfish, because then if you're feeling connected to what you're doing, then other people will then come to you through that. And I think sometimes we worry so much about the client, we forget about ourselves as the person that's supposed to be actually passionate and connected with it first.
We lead first. I'm a generator as well, right? So and the thing is, it's all energy as well. If you're talking about your business, if you're showcasing your business and you're quite down about it, or you sound uncertain, it's an energy. It is an energy. And you know, if you're not 100% sure, showing that kind of highest level of confidence in what you do, other people will feel that, and they will not feel
Yeah.
confident in your ability either.
Yeah.
So this is why the first year is so important as well, because that is what the year when the mind monkeys will come out to play, and all of these things, these beliefs that you didn't even know you had, will come out as well. And it's navigating that along with trying to build a business.
You make it
Well,
sound so easy. It's like, it's no biggie. It's just these two things. It's fine. You'll figure it out.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, it's so true. It's so true. And it's like I say, it's not easy, but I think it's about recognizing that people don't actually buy products, they buy into people. And so, like, I was having a conversation with a client the other day, and it was really professional, her content, but she wasn't in it. Right.
Mhm.
And so there was no vulnerability, there was no her story, there was no honesty there. And she was kind of hiding behind the content, which a lot of people do. But you have to understand, from my own perspective and my own experience, people will connect with you and trust you and like you. And then they're more likely then to, buy into the offerings that you put out there. So whatever that looks like. So when you recognize that, I think you show up in your business in a different way.
Yeah, I mean, just on that note, right? So my husband was just like the other day, he was looking on my website and said, "You put down that you've got 2 cat grandsons. Why have you put that down? You're going to turn people off of you. They're going to think you're crazy." And I'm like, good, good, because then there'll be a set of people who absolutely love cats, just like I do, and
Yeah,
will think, I like her. She likes cats.
yeah,
She's got 2 cat grandsons, you know.
yeah,
And it's little things like that that allow your personality to come through a bit, that allow people to have an insight. I'm not saying you have to share your whole world with people.
no,
I absolutely believe you should have privacy as well, if
yeah,
that feels right for you. But letting people into your interests or your values and things like that, and also taking a step back and going, actually, who do I buy from? How do I like to be sold to? Like, what are the things that I connect with? What are
yeah.
the things, you know?
Yeah, oh, absolutely, absolutely. And also recognizing and being okay with the fact that not everyone's going to like you, and not
Oh yeah.
everybody's good. You're not meant to work with everybody, and that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, you say that, if I said that to myself, well, I did say that to myself right at the beginning of my journey.
Mm,
That was hard to hear. You know, I
yeah.
struggled with that a lot. Like, they don't like me. Lots of inner child stuff came out to play then as
Mm,
well. But you do get to a stage where it's like you understand, like, some people are not for you, and that's okay. It's just like you're not meant to be in a relationship with everybody in the
yeah,
world. You know, there has to be a compatibility. It's the
yeah,
same thing with business.
yeah. Because it's still a relationship, isn't it? It's just obviously a
Yeah.
different relationship. But it's between you and the client, whatever that looks like. So it's accepting that and being okay with it, which is say is easier said than done. But I think it comes from experience, right? The more you move
Yeah.
in that space, the more you start to align with your people, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So knowing what you know now and all of everything you've been through, and I don't think we ever get the chance to do this, sadly, unless we all have DeLoreans in our garages. But if you
Mm.
could go back to the 18-year-old version of self of you, what would you say
Mhm.
to her, knowing what you know now?
Oh, goodness. The thing is, I have a few things that I think I would say to her, but would she listen is a completely different story. Um, I would say, I would say, this is an interesting one, because I'm trying to think about where I was in my life at 18. And I remember hearing lots of people actually saying you deserve better. And I
Mhm.
just couldn't hear it. I just didn't let it penetrate at all. Um, I think I would say be strong, because those words for me feel like, if I said that to myself now, it feels like it would mean like be strong and stand your ground on what you know is right. So be
Mhm.
strong and listen in actually is another thing, because despite kind of being a natural psychic my whole life, that gift is there, but also the ability to trust it wasn't.
Mm.
So upon reflection, when I look back and I think, gosh, I got all these messages, I got all the signs, I got all this thing. I didn't listen to any of it because I didn't trust it. And I
Yeah.
couldn't find the strength to trust it. So I would say be strong and trust your intuition.
Yeah, which again is practice, of course, like anything
Yeah.
else. I think, I think you have to prove to yourself. So you lean into your intuition and you act on it, and then you're kind of proving that it's the right thing to do. It then gives you confidence to do that again next time.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why I say to people when I've done like psychic development and stuff, I would say people, it's a question you get asked all the time. How do you, develop that connection? And I go, well, you act on it,
Hmm.
and then you see what happens and you trust
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So it's good, definitely good advice, not just for your 18-year-old self. It's a good reminder, I think, to
Now at 38 years old. Yeah.
we all need a reminder from time to time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we've looked back. So let's go forward. And I love this question. That's my now new favorite question. What's your big, scary dream for yourself moving forward? Not the safe dream that you tell people. What's your big, scary thing that you may be holding in?
My big scary dream. I actually don't feel like I've got a scary, like something that, like, I know going forward I want to, let's say, at the moment I'm currently like in London, and I'm here just really because of my girls, right? They're at school here and they love it here, and all the things, and I've been here because of them thus far. I don't envision myself staying in the city. I would love to move closer to the sea,
Mm,
um, and travel more, and really get a life that I ideally would have liked to have lived. like a decade ago or so. I wouldn't say that feels scary to me. It gives me a warm feeling in my stomach. That feels really nice. Like I'm looking forward to it and I'm like creating it as I feel it. Yeah, I don't actually have something or a goal or a dream that actually scares me. I would more say it excites me, which I know chemically and since the sensation of it is very close. I do know a lot of people that's like, oh, you got to have that big scary dream or something that scares you a little bit. I think I've spent the majority of my life feeling scared and having that sensation as a constant, that I've
Yeah, yeah.
actually learned maybe to disconnect from that and start focusing on other emotions and feelings that feel better. I've come to a place where I don't feel like anything is where I am right now, where I don't feel like anything is bigger than me. And and that's happened for me in the last couple of years. You know, before that, I struggled a lot with things feeling like they were bigger and better, you know, a lot of self-worth stuff there. And now it's at a place of like, actually, I can create what I want.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And I really hear you. I can deeply, deeply hear you on that. And I think your word probably is alignment more than anything
Yeah,
else. Like what's
yeah.
aligned with you right now? And
Um,
I totally hear you from that space of having gone through trauma. It's like, yeah, fear can be, it's not always a positive thing, as we know. So leaning into what feels aligned for you just feels much more positive. And I agree with you on that space.
It feels much more peaceful as
Yeah,
well. Yeah, you know,
absolutely.
like, you know, when you've gone through a lot of stuff, you're constantly like on edge and it's
Mm.
kind of like that kind of heavy energy. Like I'm in a place now where I can hand on heart say it feels peaceful.
Oh, what a beautiful thing to end on. I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. I knew this was going to be a good conversation, Samantha, and I was so right. And I hope that, everyone watching this is like, especially if they're in that space of, like I say, they're self-employed or they're thinking about it, they've had lots and lots of positive things to take away with them. So in terms of people connecting with you and finding out more about you, where are you online? Do you have a website? Are you on social media?
Um, yeah, I'm on Instagram, so it's Samantha Hyam Course Creation. And you are able to get me on my website, which is samanthahyam.com.
Beautiful. And all the links will be in the description box. So after the video, go and check her out. And if you are thinking about, creating courses or workshops, if you don't know where to start, I'm sure Samantha can hold your hand and point you in the right direction.
Got you. I've got you. Don't worry.
Which is obviously, it's always nice to have someone that knows what they're doing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, bless you, Samantha. Thank you so much for having this chat with me today. I really appreciate it. It was so interesting. And I think that we really covered some really interesting topics. So thank you ever so much.
Thank you for having me. It's
You're
been a
very
pleasure.
welcome. You're very welcome. And to everyone watching, thank you for watching this video. We hope that, you've had some good takeaways, like I said, and I appreciate your support in this channel. So if you want to give me a little like and follow, I always, of course, appreciate it. But as ever, there'll be more fascinating videos coming up, so keep an eye out for them. But for now, we say goodbye and send you lots of love and have a very lovely day. Bye.
Bye. Bye.